Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host, and this is Lake County Community Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an outstanding program for you this afternoon. We have Mr. George Moore Jr., co-founder with Regina, his wife, of Legacy Reentry Foundation. Good evening, George.
Good evening, Dr. Waddell Brooks. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, we remember you back, and let's see, I think you went to Tots and Tyler's Daycare Center. I remember your parents, Minister George Moore Sr.
Yes,
and
sir.
his wife bringing you. And I know at that time you had a vision. And we're going to tell us about your vision now. Tell us a little, first of all, about your personal background.
Sure. So basically, I'm somebody that went astray, went astray from grandma's teachings, and from here to California, was out there foolish and ended up incarcerated. And but that's not the end of my story. When I got out of incarceration and post-incarceration, I began to look for resources and want to help other people. And that's where I ran into the calling that God placed on my life. I didn't necessarily want that, but He placed it on me to help others like myself. And so I always go back, I won't call him Dr. Willie Brooks, evangelist Willie Brooks always said, I'm going back to get me. And that's kind of my story. I want to go back to get me. And so that went on about 20 years into me going back and to use resources to help formerly incarcerated individuals to reintegrate back into society. And that's where Legacy Reentry Foundation came a part of my life. It started out with King and You Publishing. I was a part of FIST and other organizations and all that. And it just led to Legacy and where we are now today. And that's the kind of work that we do. It's basically a second chance organization. It's faith-based, and anybody in need of resources or a second chance or help or assistance, that's what we specialize in.
Fantastic. Yes, Willie Brooks has been a guest several times on this program. As a matter of fact, I think he told me about you, that I should get you on the program because you had a fantastic program in Waukegan. Now, God opened doors for us so that we should open doors for others, right? And
Yes, sir.
This is what you're doing. Tell us in detail about the doors that you're opening for others.
Well, basically, there's a variety of resources that are needed for people coming out of Lake County Jail. I am a chaplain at the Lake County Jail, but because of COVID, have not been able to get in there. And so when people get out, they're going to need things like identification, a place to stay, obviously employment. A lot of people we run into, they're not ready for employment, but they're ready to be entrepreneurs and employ themselves. And so a lot of resources that we provide go along those lines, making them independent of the system, but dependent on God. And we try to not only give them the word of God in a faith-based manner, but practical resources. We have a community closet. We've changed that since COVID to giving them resources that they need. They can come and tell us what they need. We'll package that up. Probation hours. They can go ahead and get their hours facilitated by us, and they can come into compliance with the judicial system. And then also we're able to do a lot of mentorship, which is heavy for us. And it's been a huge success. And the people that are part of this program are just doing an amazing job at mentoring. And then we're partnered with so many powerful entities, Kurt's Cafe out of Everson and Highland Park. And of course, got to mention my brother, my father's business, Matt Thornton out of Zion, and so many others, where we're able to get the resources to our young people. And so at first we wanted to be more reactive. Now we're more proactive. And so in that sense, we're gearing everything towards our youth so that they can become a legacy. And in that sense, we started with youth and prevention, which allowed us to get a grant to move into youth and adult prevention and to do gang mediation and violence prevention, everything that leads up to people going into the system, and we want to keep them out of the system. So we go and deal with juvenile offenders or those who may end up in that arena. So that's the work that we do. There's so much more to it. So many more resources that we provide as far as employment, as far as agencies, as far as online credit repair and just expungement and just so much that we try to give them so that they can get themselves back into society. So that's where we are now.
I like to say this so that the things that you do for yourself are gone when you're gone, but the things that you do for others, you leave as your legacy. And this is what you're doing, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Most definitely. As I said before, most of what we do was geared and is geared in a sense towards prevention and reentry. But then I think it was Frederick Douglass who said, it's easier to build strong children than repair broken men. And so that's where we realize in order to leave a legacy, we've got to build up our younger generation. We have some powerful people on our team. We have 13-member staff, including myself and my wife, that are geared towards empowerment for these young people in this generation, the millennials and younger, to make sure that they're the legacy and that we leave something for them. And that's what we're doing now. Everything we do is to build them up and to make sure that they are empowered to not ask for resources, but to become a resource. In other words, we tell them, don't just ask for resources, but get the resources so that you can become a resource.
I like to say this, that you are really a dreamer. And if I could just name a few, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King was a dreamer. I have a dream, Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson, Keep Hope Alive, Dr. Daisy Brooks, she mentioned Me and God, and President Barack Obama. Yes, we can, and Dr. Waddell Brooks, in ourselves, our future lies, right?
Yes.
And so this is what you're doing. Um, George, life is a journey, and we're just passing through, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on your epitaph, it'll be date of birth dash date of death, and
Yeah.
it's what you do between the dash what counts as far as God is concerned, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And first of all, I want to acknowledge the fact that I don't think I'm able to be considered or even put in that lineup that you just mentioned. So I won't do that. But I will say that we're striving to become dreamers and legacy builders, that our name will one day be remembered, not for necessarily what we've done, but the glory that we've brought to God. And so, that dash is very important. The purpose of what we do is very important. We taught a class recently, our first class in this new building, and we had almost 20 some odd young men and women in here. And we told them about how powerful their purpose is. A lot of people mention purpose, but we begin to express to them that nothing else matters until you figure that out. I think we're all trying to feel our ways through life, but to find out what you're created for is, in a sense, once you find that, then God can place you in your own personal Garden of Eden, and everything is provided for you. All you have to do is till the land. So I just really believe that purpose is important, and that dash, it has to include us going to our graves empty, because we've done all we can do to sow into this life God's purpose for us. So without that, we're not being relevant to that dash of what's on that gravestone.
Very good. The scripture tells us where there's no vision, people perish, right? And you definitely had a vision, and we'd like to congratulate you, Gun. Today is the present, and no, yesterday is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Today is the present, so we call it a gift. Tomorrow may never come.
True. So true. So true. And that's why I believe we have to sow into everything that God has given us now to do. I mean, we do it 100% personal testimony. Right now, we're in two buildings joined together in downtown Waukegan. And, to see where we are now as opposed to where we came from, it's important that I share to people that I don't accept can't anymore. I always say that's a cuss word in our classes. Can't. I don't have enough money. I had no money, and I don't have enough time to tell you that all I had was vision, and telling people I have a vision, and people sold into that vision and said, well, I believe what you're saying. There's something about it. Let's go with it. And so I opened my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
God gave me a vision. And I believe if God gives you a vision, he'll provide, which is provision. And so that is the important thing to know. You don't have to have money. You don't have to have resources. You don't have to know a whole lot of important people. All you have to do is have a vision. And that, I believe, will keep you from perishing, as you stated. That's biblical, and let me just say this. There's a lot of secular people, or people who may not be of faith, so to speak, and they go out and they go hard after whatever they believe they're called to do. And God forbid that we who claim to have faith are huddling behind a door somewhere saying, I hope somebody will hear me, and I hope I can get out of this. And I don't have this, and I don't have, no, it's time out for the lions to come out the cage, and to know that, you can go into that jungle and provide for yourself. And so that's what I believe. And that's why I think that's a part of the vision, to tell people the vision. Open your mouth, use your mouthpiece, and there's life and death in the power of your tongue.
I heard you give a speech. You was on program for the NAACP banquet. I believe it was at Illinois State Beach Park, and you really inspired me. And I said, I'm gonna have to get you on the program soon, because you gave an inspirational talk at that banquet.
Thank you so much. You brought back some good memories. We had a good conversation before I spoke, and you inspired me before I even got up to speak. And it was late in the evening by the time I got up, and I believe I spoke about a young Khalif Browder who died because of the effects of Rikers Island.
Mm-hmm.
And that, of course, his mother went on to start a movement, and that there was a charge, call to action, that we taught. That's really what it was, a call to action, mm-hmm. that was shared that evening. And that it wasn't just me projecting that to everybody else. It was really me talking to a mirror, because I want to make sure that I heed that we just can't talk about problems and issues like, currently by the time this airs, we all know about the issues that have happened recently with the young lady who was shot, and we know about the George Floyd, Mr. Chauvin verdict, and that we could talk about it all day. But I challenged our young people today in class, let's do some conflict resolution. Let's do some resolve. Let's do some critical thinking. But what's the resolve? What is the solution? And don't talk about they or them or what people can do. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do? And I think the call to action is, what am I going to do personally to affect change in my community, and to stop talking about problems and gossiping about what's going on, and get my butt up and get off my rusty dusty, as they say, and go do something.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, the group in Ohio, the young lady, I think she's about 17 years old, that they got killed by the police.
Yeah, they did. Some say 16, some 15.
Yeah. Now, what they need is someone like you down there to organize them, and so that it appears that they have no direction in life. She was reported that she's fighting and after a young lady with a knife and this type of thing, but they have nothing in life to look forward to. No direction.
I believe that there's somebody greater than me down there already. Mm-hmm. And that's my issue. Mm-hmm. I believe there's somebody already there. And so many elements of our society, the people are already there. We have to empower them and deploy them. Mm-hmm. We have to build them up, empower them, and say, do you know, you can't see yourself. So we have to say, do you know who you are, and get them out. We just recently had an award show where we acknowledged, it was called Back to the Future 2.0, where we acknowledge our millennials who marched and protested last year at a time when we needed it the most. They voiced, they spoke, and they marched and they protested, and they weren't acknowledged, so to speak. They didn't do it for that. But we want to come together and say, the Clyde McLemore's, the Justice, the Miss Howell, and different ones that most people wouldn't want to acknowledge. We want to acknowledge them because they're not going to be acknowledged. but we want you to know that your voice matters and that you are inspiring people. And so there are people like that all over, but nobody will build them up, or maybe they don't even feel like they have a voice. So they may say a few things and nobody says anything, then they go back into their cave. But now it's time for us to come out the cave. We have people already down there in Ohio, and they probably just feel like, you know, what's the use of me saying something? No, you have a voice, and that's the only thing I can do is build you up, because I'm not going to every single state.
Yeah.
I believe that you're there, and I believe you have a greater voice even than I do.
You have many organizations locally that support the work that you're doing, right?
We do, and it's good to have the church behind you. You have a variety of churches there behind us. It's good to have faith-based communities behind us. I believe that's where it starts. And then we have, you know, again, Lake County, we just made some partnerships. We just made a great partnership today with College of Lake County. Amazing that we'll be talking about. We have individual partnerships, some amazing partners and powerful people in the community that have stepped up to say, I believe in your cause. And then we have, again, like I told you, Kurt's Cafe, MFB, and then others who are really doing the work. And you know, I can go on and on, you know, look at NERCO. And if we can't deal with mental health, they can, and we could talk to them about it. There's so many people that are doing the work. Waukegan Township, Mark Jones, the new supervisor, Mark Jones, he's got a plan now to be inclusive and to bring people in, to bring the community in, and to say, listen, let's all work together. I want to mention North Chicago Think Tank. North Chicago Think Tank is on the rise. We just had a meeting with them. Powerful people. I could start with names, but I don't want to miss any. But there's a powerful coalition that they have created that I'm proud to be a part of, and want to support them. And they're ready to be proactive as opposed to reactive. So listen, we got some amazing partnership. There's some people out here that you may not be aware of, but we're going to bring them to light. But they're here, and we don't have to ask anybody to help us or to beg and plead. We have all the power in-house to do whatever we need to do for God's glory.
Yeah, you mentioned Rita Mayfield. Have you been in contact with her, our representative?
See, I try not to mention her because I mention it so much. I try, because every day I mention Rita Mayfield.
Okay. What about Deborah Vaughn with a women's group?
Yes, Ms. Vaughn, also with Dr. Vaughn is also Teen and Single Mother Resource Center. They've been a huge part of us, a huge partnership for us. They've actually, they came by and they said, we're going to give you, I believe it was 14 computers. Yeah, 14, and they didn't have to do that because resources were initially given to them. And so Dr. Michelle Vaughn. And so just going back to Rita Mayfield, she is a strong community advocate. She has been, I mean, I could stop the show right now to say Rita Mayfield is it. If you need assistance, she has not bowed down. She has been there for everyone in our community. She has a track record of being in the hood and both in the political arena, fighting for people who are disproportionate and who need assistance. I just want to big shout out to Rita Mayfield. And also I'm honored that she's a part of our board. And so just to have her, just to even give us wisdom and input, and to tell us some things that we don't know, that we, you know, get your act together, you know, fill this out, do this. She challenges us, you know. So we appreciate her more than you can possibly imagine.
Well, you were recently awarded a grant. Can you tell our listeners about it?
I can, yes. We have 13 employees now that we were awarded 3 grants. And I can only I'm gonna speak about a couple here because we haven't made one available to the public, but some big things are about to happen. Two that the public knows about is that we received the Legacy Youth and Adult Prevention grant. And they call it that because people would think it's a violence prevention grant, but they wrote it specifically for what we're already doing, which is getting the youth out of that violent atmosphere by mentorship and education. So it's not what you would normally think, like with a ceasefire or something like that. It's not that. And so we're going into the neighborhoods. We have an outreach team. We have case management, case workers. We have life skills coordination, mentorship, powerful people on our team like Oscar Parham. And I don't want to start naming names because if I
Right.
do that, I'll be upset at myself because I miss so many people. But we have a 13-member staff, including my wife and myself, here, Waukegan, Tri-City, Waukegan, North Chicago, Waukegan, and we're really affecting Lake County with our outreach, Modena Stinnett, all these people coming together to make sure that we can be more preventative and reach our youth as well. Carlos Smith, oh my God, we got so many people. I didn't want to start naming people. And then we also, I got to stop there because I got to go into another grant that we filled out before that, but we've been rejected so much. We have been shot down so much. And now this is just the season. Now these grants are coming through. Before they were saying no, no, no. Now we finally say, okay, you did that right. You did that right. So then we got another grant, which is going to pay for the houses that we have now. We've leased 2 houses joined together on 418, 420 Clayton. Powerful houses, already furnished, fully furnished for attorneys, industrial use. And now we're in it. And as you can see the background, this was all here before I got here. And now God just blessed us with it. We're right across the street from the police station, which I'm so excited. We're close to the jail. Right now, just walking distance from the jail and the courthouse. And we have 2 houses again here, and with offices and the youth side, and it's amazing. And then in a couple of weeks here, the public doesn't know this part, but the grant will allow us to purchase the buildings. So now we're not not just leasing, we're owners. There's power in that, and ownership. And then there's another grant we got approved for, but this is the huge one that I can't even speak about it right now. Okay. All I can say is when it happens, all you're going to do is give God the glory. And this is stuff that we've been fighting for years, and they kept saying no. Let me just say a word of encouragement for somebody out there that you think you need to have money, you think you need to know important people, you need to get in the in crowd and compromise and then become something that you're not. You just need to believe God.
Did you move from Belvedere then, or is that in addition to the location?
No, we're no longer at Belvedere.
Okay.
So that's over with. We're here now, downtown Waukegan, and then there's some other things that are going to be going on soon as well.
Fantastic. So can you tell us about the ministry side of your organization? I know
sure. Yeah, we have from Lockup to Legacy Ministries, the Lake County Jail, which is my heart. I'm chaplain at the Lake County Jail. I haven't been able to get in there. And the reentry specialist, along with Anthony Vega and Chief Anthony Vega, and shout out to Sheriff Heidelberg. Now the videos and the podcasts that I do are on all the inmate or resident tablets. So now I do these videos and everybody in there will be able to see that. And so that is powerful. And then just this last Sunday, my pastor, Pastor Lamar Lark, along with some other pastors, and all my parents were there in Connection Church. They ordained me a pastor this past Sunday. And so I believe it's the 18th. And so right now I'm just in awe of what God is doing. That is so that we're about to move into some other areas, some non-traditional areas of mission work. It's going to blow your mind. And so, to God be the glory for what he's done. And you'll see it soon. But right now, a lot is going on behind the scenes. So the ministry aspect is there, Bible studies, some church, some services we'll be doing you'll see. But we're just glad that God is moving in that fashion. So lots happening right now on the ministry side behind the scenes.
You mentioned Pastor Larkin. Was he part of the ministry of Juliet Hicks? You remember Juliet Hicks?
I don't. I know he's a part of Converge Churches. He's a owner operator of the Gurney Chick-fil-A. Has a church in Libertyville. And so, just a very amazing man of faith. And it was just amazing. I talked to my former pastors, Bishop Logan, Bishop Cartwright, and they're all on board to continue counseling, mentoring me, and being a part of what we're doing. So it's full circle. We're showing the younger generation that just because you're not with somebody, you don't see them anymore, you can still work with them and still be mentored by them. So that's what's going on behind the scenes.
Now, what about COVID-19? How has that affected your operation?
Me personally, or I'm sorry, or the
What a business.
oh, the business.
Yeah, COVID-19. Yeah.
Yes. So I'll just say this, it affected my heart because I saw so many people that I know and love really get tortured by this thing.
Yeah.
Me personally, in the business that we do, I thought that it would be the worst year of last March when it started, the worst year of our lives. I looked at my wife and I didn't tell her because I didn't want her to panic. But I looked at her and said, how am I going to provide for her? This is bad. And then it turned out being the best year of our lives ever in ministry, because all our grants, this is how God worked. All of our grants and everything came through during COVID.
Oh.
So it's like God was waiting. He knew
Okay.
that you're going to be in a bad situation. It's going to be very bad for you, but I'm going to provide still. So this was the most provision that we've ever had in our entire lives. And even that's in a singular sense. My wife or me, we put together, we've never been blessed like we are now. So, and he did that during COVID. So all I can say is we are grateful, and it's bittersweet because we've seen so many people that we know hurt by this virus.
Well, I may say this. So there are three types of people in the world. There those that make things happen, and those that watch things happen, and those that wondering what's happening. So I have to put you in the category of the first category, those that make things happen.
Thank you, sir.
And by the grace of God, you know that you're doing this. He gives you the strength to make things happen because you're doing things for others. You know.
Only by God's grace. We're Isaiah 42:7. You know, we're trying to bring out those who are incarcerated in prison, and God gave us that calling, and now He's providing beyond measure everything we need to do that. And so I could say it's only Him, and we just happen to be riding on the train that's not going off the tracks.
And you're projecting to your clients that character matters, right?
We are. The best way I can say it is, you know, when you talk about good doesn't always mean godly. Anybody could do something good in the community, but that doesn't mean it's godly. Now, we're not perfect. Let me put that out there. Everybody in here, we crazy. All my staff is crazy.
We call it matured.
We're mature people, I guess you could say that. We're growing, but I can tell you we're better than where we came from. But that's what we present to people. When you see us, all you see is some people that God has made over. Nothing special, nothing I did. I'm nobody special. I'm not perfect. I'm mature in the sense that God has saved me and put me in the position to where I can at least tell somebody else, listen, if you just go this route, it'll work out good for you. So that's where we are as far as character.
Man, I always refer man's purpose on earth. Why did He place a man on earth? You know, back in the early scripture, tell us to work till the land, right? But now, and I would say this that you mentioned all the way through your discourse, that helping others. He put you here to be a blessing to he blessed you to be a blessing to others.
I would say this: I come here with the purpose of Christ. He came not to be served, but He came to serve, and that is my ultimate purpose. I'm here to serve, and I pray that I do it well, so that when I get out of this place, He says, "Well done, good and faithful servant."
In the last minute we have, I have to mention this, and if you haven't forgotten, you are alumni of Tots and Tyler's Daycare Center in North Chicago, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
you still have your cap and gown.
Yes, in my spirit, I do. And shout out and salute to Dr. and Mrs. Daisy Brooks for the work that you've contributed to the community and all that you've sown. Thank you for affecting not just my life, but so many other young people.
Right. Well, the seed was placed in the ground to grow, and you have definitely grown. And we congratulate you, and anything that we still can do for you, keep the phone calls coming. We'll see what we can do.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, and I salute you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with George Moore Jr., founder of Legacy Reentry Foundation, and he's been talking about how God has using him to open the doors for him so that he can open the doors for others. And we congratulate you, Brother Moore, with your wife, Regina, co-founder of Legacy Reentry Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Lake County Community Forum. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.